Minneapolis Clean Energy Homes Tour. My name is Marie Franchette, and I'm a volunteer with Unidos. I've lived in Minneapolis for 32 years, and over that time, I'm sad that I've seen our beautiful snowy winters become shorter and shorter, and during the summers, we have more days where there's so much smoke in the air that you can't even go outside. But there are passionate folks working to save our environment and ensure clean air. We're standing today in front of an apartment building that has been converted to clean energy, and we're excited to be visiting six uh, homes and buildings over the next 2 days uh, and hear from these amazing homeowners and building owners who are passionate about the reduction of use of fossil fuels. Clean energy homes are important to everyone, and it matters to them, and it also matters especially to our youth whose future is at stake. So climate change is caused by carbon emissions that affect everyone. In Minneapolis this summer, we experienced a lot of smoky air due to wildfires and extreme weather and devastating weather events, drought, and displacement creates instability that ripples across borders. Low-income families, though, experience the brunt of climate change, and renters in apartments with no air conditioning are at increased risk of heat stroke. And renters in low-income residents are most affected by rising food prices that are as a result of drought and extreme flooding. Families that living in polluted neighborhoods that are disproportionately suffering from asthma and heart disease are most at risk from indoor air pollution from methane from gas stoves. But it doesn't have to be this way. Renewables are now the cheapest form of energy, yet making the transition is out of reach for most families. That's why Unidos of Minnesota fought for the city to invest in clean energy home upgrade programs accessible to all residents. The $10 million annual funding that we won together with our partner organizations has made new clean energy programs possible. And we want to continue to work with the city to increase investment in clean energy for all residents. Today, we will hear from our partner organization, Cooperative Energy Futures, about the Sustainable Homes program they are launching this month with support from the city. And we'll hear from home and apartment owners who have made clean energy changes and why they decided to make that leap with or without support from city programs. So our first speaker is Paolo Spirin from Cooperative Energy Futures.
Thanks so much for that introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Paolo Spirin, and I work for Cooperative Energy Futures. How's my mic? Louder? How's that? Okay, here we go. Hi, everybody. My name is Paolo. I work with Cooperative Energy Futures. We're a member-owned co-op that works to give people power over their own sources of energy. I'm happy to be standing here with Unidos as we roll out the Home Energy Efficiency Upgrade Program, Sustainable Homes. Everyone in Minneapolis wants their home to be comfortable and their energy bills to be affordable. But our community faces serious barriers to implementing the improvements that would achieve this energy efficiency. Upfront costs for home upgrades can be high, and getting the information to calculate any long-term savings is almost impossible. Rebates to help reduce costs are complicated to navigate and often still require huge upfront expenses. Choosing and managing contractors is complex and high stakes, especially for households that are already overburdened. Since our founding in 2009, Cooperative Energy Futures has worked with utilities, with community groups, and with program deliverers to understand these barriers and try to improve them. While we've seen some progress, it hasn't gone far enough. So this month, with huge support from Unidos and the City of Minneapolis, we are launching the Sustainable Homes program to directly address these challenges. We've seen this approach work in working class communities all over the country, and we've used a similar approach to connect over 1,500 households in Minnesota with community solar. The Sustainable Homes program reduces or eliminates the upfront costs for home energy upgrades. Using a rigorous home assessment, the program prioritizes upgrades tailored to your home that save money from day one. We identify all relevant rebates and incorporate them into the project, even applying for the rebates on your behalf when the rebates allow. And we manage a small, select group of contractors that will do excellent work in your home. In most cases, your bills will stay the same or go down slightly after paying little or nothing upfront for upgrades like air source heat pumps, efficient boilers and furnaces, and home insulation and air sealing. Right now, single-family detached homes with owner-occupants are eligible for the program, where we aim to expand to small multifamily and renters within a year. Our focus will be on Minneapolis green zones and low to moderate income households in our city, where rebates from the city of Minneapolis make the program especially attractive. Residents can sign up on the Cooperative Energy Futures website. We're grateful to Unidos and to the city for doing this mutually supportive work to make homes more comfortable, make bills more affordable, and make carbon emissions go down. Our goal is to upgrade 200 homes in our first year alone, and we hope you'll join us. Thank you.
All right.
Hello, can you hear me? Is my mic okay? Nope. How about now? Great. Hi, my name's Ricky Honnold. I live at 50th and Lindale with my husband and my 2 kids. We bought this house 5 years ago in May of 2020. I am a child of the 80s. So I grew up and I first learned that there was such a thing as global warming when I read about it in my Babysitter's Club book in 4th grade. And I read about solar cars, or I heard about solar panel cars and solar heating when I saw Rick Moranis' character drive a solar-powered van up the hill in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids 2. Now I have a 4th grader, and she learns about climate change because her 4th grade after-school party is canceled because there's too much air pollution. And my 2nd grader learns about this because her Girl Scout troop overnight trip is canceled because there's too much air pollution. My grandmother died from lung cancer, never smoked a day in her life, but she sat in front of her gas stove all the time, every single day, cooking for our family because there is air pollution in your gas stove. When we first bought our house, we were really happy that there was an induction oven, so we didn't have to worry about gas in our home. And we thought by just like carpooling and riding our bikes and taking a bus that we would solve our part of polluting the climate. And that was wrong. When I first joined Unidos as a volunteer, I found out that just heating my house was the primary source of pollution for my own output. So my husband and I used MSP Energy and we installed 2 air source heat pumps. And now our gas bill is down to like $25 a month, unless we're heating it in the winter when the temperature drops below 15. So 15 degrees Fahrenheit. So we've really been able to cut out gas in our house. We also installed solar panels. Our first power bill was negative $5 after we installed the panels. Our second power bill was negative $15. And it's just been a great way to offset the electrical burden in our home. We want our kids to have clean air in the future, and we want them to be able to breathe. So when my daughter takes a Ziploc bag and she fills it with air and she writes 2025 air, I want her to be able to say that her parents did everything that they could, like everything in their power to change their output and their carbon pollution. But we really need everyone on board. And it's not fair for other families and other houses that don't have enough money to put into these houses. So grateful for everyone else here who's making the work to give the funding to other communities, other people in the community to make these changes too. 'Cause it takes everybody. It's not just me. It's not just my home. So thank you.
Good morning. My name is Dave Johansson. I'm a HVAC system designer for MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air. We use a lot of jargon and terminology that sometimes we assume other people know, but they don't necessarily. So HVAC stands for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. So MSP, we've been around since 1918, and It is our role. We work in the portion of the industry that's called retrofit. So we work exclusively with homes that already exist, whose equipment is due for replacement. So rather than say new construction that you see being built, it's a different part of our industry. We work exclusively with homeowners who are looking to upgrade their equipment, either due to failure of their existing equipment and it is just aged out, or they're looking to make an upgrade for various reasons, sometimes including energy efficiency or reasons of wanting to lower their carbon footprint or what have you. So I came to this industry like a lot of people when you ask them when they get to be their mid-50s, how did you end up doing what you do? Accidentally, actually. So it's the second major industry I've been involved in. I've been doing it for over 20 years, but I was in a different technical industry, which was going through some upheavals, and found myself outside of a job. And so I had a very close friend, and he said, why don't you come check out what I do? And I did. That was over 20 years ago. He ended up being my first boss in this industry. And he said, I think you'll like it. And he was right from the first day. I loved meeting with homeowners, talking about what can be done, what was possible. The answer to that, by the way, is almost anything. In the 20 years I've been doing this, a little over, the technologies that can be brought to bear in an existing home, the changes that have happened in that 20-year period, when you think about it, that's not a really long time, but the changes have been astonishing in terms of what is possible in a pre-existing home. So there's a takeaway message here at the end. What is your takeaway? And this isn't the end of my remarks, but I might as well skip to it right now, which is often we think of, these advanced technologies that for saving energy and reducing footprints and things of that nature are for new houses and new homes. Not only is that not true, that you can bring a lot of these technologies to bear in homes that are not just pre-existing, but sometimes some of our oldest homes. Not only can those technologies be brought to bear at those homes, they have the biggest impact on those homes. So we just recently moved. I was saddened because I love the neighborhood we're in. This is as a company, just due to infrastructure and parking and things of that nature. But from 1918 until just last year, we were at 640 Grand Avenue in St. Paul. So you look around that address, and it's surrounded by homes that were built in not just 1920. That's a new house in the neighborhood we were in. 1910, 1900, 1880, right? So we got pulled into from our homeowners or from our customer base, from our neighborhoods, into bringing these technologies to homes that were quite a bit older, in homes that we couldn't really change. People didn't want us to change their 1912 Craftsman, to be honest. That's why they bought it in the first place. Or we couldn't even change them if we wanted to, because they're nationally listed as historic property. And so a lot of the technologies that we are bringing to bear on every type of home really originated for those types of homes in the first place. That could be for somebody who has a boiler, and that's somebody who's got radiators. If you've got radiators in your house, you have a boiler. If you've got vents, you've got a furnace and air. It's called a forced air system. There are technologies in every type of system that might be in your existing home that bring a lot of these technologies, and that's air source heat pumps, ductless mini splits, extremely high efficiency boiler systems that can really change the carbon footprint of a house, and the energy consumption of a house, sometimes dramatically. So the technology's out there. It's not just for new homes, it's for every home. And I'll just reiterate, a lot of times they have the biggest impact on the oldest homes. So if you have this house, it's like, well, I can't do anything. My house is built in 1930. To us, in the homes we work in, that house is new. So you can't turn away and think that that's not possible for your home, because it is. So that's my remarks. So, what is next?
I want to talk to you when we're done here. I have work to do. Who am I and why am I here? My name is Dale Howie. I own Green Rock Apartments. I've been a landlord for 35 years. My YouTube channel, of course, is Crazy Green Landlord. Check it out. Got some fun videos on there. My daughter's helping me with those. She said, Dad, they're really cringy. Well, I told her, here's a job. I'll make them less cringy. So I started greening up in earnest in 2000 when I read and heard about it during the Gore Bush campaign and got educated on climate change. And I thought, well, why isn't anybody doing anything about this? So I got busy fearing for the bleak future for my children and everybody else. I do this work because I want to leave the place better than I found it. The work is spiritual to me. I don't need much. I just want a future for my kids. I want to take joy from my work to make the world clean and more beautiful and make my children proud of their dad at the end of my days. The projects I've done or are in process include solar everywhere, EV charging stations, free eco products to tenants, taking out all gas appliances or decarbonization, beyond efficiency. So much of what we focus on is money, 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 money. And it's like, well, do you value anything else but money? How about your air, your water, your soil? You know the laws of three, right? 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food. I think we need to get our priorities straight. And the other things that I've done to all of my properties are lighting, windows, insulation, doors, installing efficient heating and cooling. I've been doing since I started my business because I saw the cost saving on my monthly bills. We also want to assist tenants and others to live a more sustainable life by providing green products and offering opportunities to compost, to grow their own food, to live efficiently with bike storage, bus passes, electric cars to rent. 615 East 16th Street, where we're at now, or I'm sorry, it's a neighboring building we have, is on the U.S. Department of Energy's website for innovation and energy use by business. We've taken fossil fuels out of 3 commercial buildings. This is going to be our 4th. So at 615, I did the heat pumps and restructured the whole building with no incentives just because I hate paperwork. Hate it. But I wanted to do it, anyway. I didn't worry about incentives at the time until I, ran out of funds. And of course, then I found out the incentives I could have gotten had I done more reading. So I encourage anybody who's interested in this to look at the benefits, look around, talk to any contractors and find out what you can do, because I like to say everybody's going to eat 75,000 pounds on average of food in their lifetimes. So about 40 tons of food. I'd start with the chocolate. But you're going to do it one bite at a time. So nothing can get solved unless you start chewing on it, right? So get busy. Get off your assets and save the world, I like to say. I dove into this without audits or anything, just doing what I could with what I had, but I realized I could do more with an injection of help. Andy Goke from Apadana made it simple, and Isaac Evans with the city cost share program really supported me in my efforts. We also signed up with the 4D programs, which has been a large part of savings with green updates with the city cost share and Excel. I got a grant for the structure you see here. I got a grant for that. Yeah, I know, right? Andy surprised me with that. I love that guy. So before I got help, I was wasting hundreds of thousands of dollars of my own money to do this, but I quickly saw that it wasn't going to meet my goals in a reasonable time and that I needed help. I used the 4D program, Excel rebates, state and federal funds, and the best by far was the Minneapolis cost share program. It would have taken me another decade to do what I've done so far. I put 100% of my resources into greening up my planet and anything I can do. So if you need help, keep my number. The benefits I've seen are if you increase efficiency for your buildings, you decrease the cost. My grammar sucks on here. You decrease the cost, and it gives the company more leeway in pricing rent and passing cost savings on to tenants. I'm currently operating at a surplus of 12 commercial buildings. In other words, I'm making more power than I'm using on 12 commercial buildings at my house. 20 of my tenants use the charging infrastructure we installed over the last 10 years. I'm trying to get to net zero for the year overall. I should pull off that in the next 2 to 3 years. I also get personal satisfaction of being as clean and green as I can make my business and my life. It feels like I'm making an impact by our efforts at urban ag and bringing nature to the city as well, which also makes the air cleaner in a city setting. The tenants get cleaner air, they're more comfortable with a tighter envelope and lower bills as well. We like to say we create value with our values, and many tenants want to rent from us due to those initiatives. We also use the bus pass program with Metro. Okay, I'm getting that. I'm getting the hook. Last thing, please do not the national trend of dropping the ball on the goal, which is the future life on this planet. Mars sucks. I don't want to go live with Elon in a bubble. Read, learn, be inspired, and act for the earth and future generations. Don't be a greedy poor puss and find your purpose. What are we here for if not for each other? Please increase funding for these programs. They make a huge difference in making our affordable housing cleaner, greener, and move people and businesses to take action. I'm really thankful for this opportunity to speak for clean energy, and I want to thank UNIDOS for their leadership in climate equity. Thank you. This is yours. What am I doing? Oh. I think this is all mine. Give me anything, I could lose it in 5 minutes flat or less. It wasn't my fault.
Thank you so much. These stories are so exciting. And the tour today and tomorrow will stop at 6. The tour today and tomorrow will stop at 6 different places, many of whom have participated in the city's programs. And just wanted to explain, the Climate Legacy Initiative Fund was launched by the city in 2023, and it's had enough funding to support approximately 1,000 households per year to transition to life-saving clean energy. A study released in 2023 by the city shows that to weatherize and decarbonize all 1 to 4 unit buildings in the city and meet the city's climate goals, we would need to scale that program up to provide 10,000 households a year with clean energy. And unfortunately, we cannot rely on the federal government to keep our families safe from climate pollution. That's why UNIDOS and partner organizations are asking the city to ramp up funding to meet the city's climate goals. Thank you to all of the incredible folks that have presented today. Their stories and commitment to eliminating the use of fossil fuels in their homes and in their buildings and for their tenants in the buildings is truly inspiring. We invite you now to continue to hear more from folks about their clean energy stories at their buildings and homes across the city at the tours today. So at this time, we invite you to join the tour of Dale Howie's apartments, and I'll turn this over to Aaron Thompson, who will be leading the tour. There's one. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day.